Your photos can look like this, like this, like this, or even like this. Howdy everyone. In this video, we're going to be talking about LUTs, what they are, what they can be used for, how many different kinds there are, and then mainly how we can actually use them in Zonar Photo Studio. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you can make your own LUT. So let's get to it. So let's start by explaining what LUTs actually are. Now, LUT stands for Lookup Table. And as the name suggests, it's a mathematical table. Put very simply, this table has hue, saturation, and brightness values for each color written into it. When we apply this table to a photo, Zonar Photo Studio X takes the colors from the photo and converts them to the colors that correspond to the table. So you can think of a LUT as sort of a preset for your photos and your videos, but they're a bit different than standard presets. How? When you apply one of the presets in Zonar Photo Studio X, it's going to automatically apply the adjustments from the Develop module. And this means that all sliders, including the exposure sliders, are going to be modified. Any further adjustments that we make are just going to change the preset settings. When you apply LUTs, the sliders actually stay where they were, and we can adjust them how we want them to look like. And as long as you don't touch the color settings, all the photos that you apply LUTs to are going to have a similar look. Now, LUTs have the added benefit of being able to include different color tone settings for, say, 2 different shades of green. And this is something that you can do with presets or editing. LUTs can also be used with almost all types of photo editing software, not only for photos, but also for videos. Now, there are 2 types of LUTs, technical and creative. What's the difference? Well, let's jump into the first one, technical. So we shoot our videos in what's known as a log. It's a special color profile of our camera that has a greater dynamic range, and it gives us much more freedom in post-production in terms of color and exposure adjustments. Now, dynamic range is a topic all on its own, and we're not going to cover it in this video, but if you want to learn more about dynamic range, let us know in the comments, and we'll be happy to do a video on that. Now, back to log. If we display our video with no adjustments, you can see there's a major lack of contrast, and the video is desaturated. If you want to convert it to a standard Rec 709 color profile, which has less dynamic range, we're going to have to use a technical LUT. And right after applying it, you can see that both contrast and color have been added to the image. Similarly, technical LUTs can be used so that colors from different camera manufacturers actually match. Creative LUTs, on the other hand, are meant to add different types of looks and feel to your pictures. Now, LUTs are available in several formats, one of them being the cube format, and besides the cube, there's also 3DL and also PNG. And speaking of PNG, I have one thing to show you. When I told you that a LUT is a mathematical table, it's actually not just about numbers and math. In fact, when we open the LUT file in a PNG, notice that it's a table of different color scales. Zonar Photo Studio X finds a specific color in these scales and then converts it to the desired color or color tone that we're after. So now that we know what LUTs are, let's see where we can actually get them and then transfer them into Zonar Photo Studio X. So the internet is full of LUTs, and many of them are going to be free. So just search for free LUTs and you'll get a bunch of hits. They come in a variety of color tones, and some people design their own LUTs to replicate their color settings or to go with different events like weddings, Christmas, winter, summer, you name it. Since Christmas is just around the corner, let's use Christmas LUTs. And I'll show you how to import them into Zonar Photo Studio X. It's really quite simple. Okay, once I have the LUTs downloaded onto my computer, I'm gonna open up Zonar Photo Studio, and at the top right of the panel of the Develop module, I'm gonna click this plus sign right here. Then from here, I'm gonna find the file that we want, and ideally it's gonna be in cube format, and then let's add it to Zonar Photo Studio X. Be careful though, many times LUTs come in bundles, and these are usually compressed in a RAW or zip format. So be sure to extract each file first, move them out of the compressed file, and then open the correct folder in Zonar Photo Studio X. Okay, so our Christmas LUT is up and running. And let's look to see what the photo looked like before, and then after applying the LUT to see how these colors have changed. Okay, and since I promised, or I mentioned, that I'd help you create your own LUT, let's get to that. Okay, so first download this image. And you can find a link in the video description below. And it's going to be the same table that I was showing you earlier, but without any adjustments. Now let's open the photo in the Develop module, where we've applied some exposure and color adjustments. Let's use Control-C to copy these adjustments, find the table, and then apply the adjustments to it. But be careful. There has to be something to copy. Just opening any photo in JPEG is not going to work. These adjustments won't be transferred to the LUT, and the adjustments must not be exported. In other words, the sliders have to be modified. Otherwise, you wouldn't copy anything and there would be no effect on the photo. Lastly, let's export this file. Let's rename it to whatever we need. Set the format to full quality PNG, including Develop module adjustments, decrease compression, and no change for bit depth. Okay, once we've exported it, let's just import the PNG to my LUTs the same way I showed you earlier. All right, so now you know what LUTs are, what they do, how we can use them, where you can get them, and most importantly, how we can install them onto Zotar Photo Studio X and use them there. And we even covered how to make your own. Hope this video was interesting for you guys. Give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe bell so you never miss a video. And like always, let us know what video or subject interests you below, and we'll try to get to that. Until then, have a good one, let the snow fall, and see you guys in the next video. Ciao.